Lucas lives in a society of limited scarcity, in a beautiful village with flowers and trees. Everybody there lives in unlimited harmony. Lucas loves to stroll down the street to see the beauty of the village and greet his friends. Once tasted a hair fruit from the village. He found it good. Even with his limited intelligence, he had an idea. He decided to create a drink made out from that fruit, which was then produced and consumed by the people of the community. As a result of his initiative, Lucas becomes prosperous. Lucas used his limited intelligence and hired the bottle producer of the village, who also became a prosperous guy. Lucas and his friend hired a third friend, an expert in construction, in order to improve their houses. The third friend also becomes prosperous with the job in hand and decided himself to improve his own house. Lucas and some of his friends are getting prosperous. Lucas, the bottle producer and expert in construction, are very attached to their houses and begin to despise the other friends of the neighborhood. They also notice that the bottles of the juices consumed by his neighbors are littered all over the streets. It looks ugly and dirty, and they found it gross. It is not a beautiful village anymore, they say. They thought they would use their limited intelligence and decide to build a wall to separate their beautiful houses from the rest of the village. And he threw all the bottles to the other side of the fence. And suddenly, Lucas realized that he was a sad person. He found himself trapped inside an artificial bubble of beauty. He could no longer walk the streets of the village, enjoying the beauty of the flowers, because of the garbage accumulated in the corners. And he no longer had the pleasure to greet his neighbors, who were unhappy with him. And, as if it were not enough, the beautiful trees with the hair fruit that he used to produce his beverage were exhausted. And Lucas lost his main source of prosperity. Actually, Lucas was never prosperous. The word prosperity implies continuity, individual and group improvement, something that always grows and it is not limited. When the crisis was over, Lucas called all his friends to study the consequences of their decisions taken during the last events. It is possible to create a self-sustaining situation that generates prosperity rather than a brief post-scarcity moment, they wondered. The answer is yes. Humanity today lives Luca's dilemma. We still have limited intelligence. But with the increasing volume and quality of information that we generate and receive, individuals of the world are beginning to solve the problems that our ancestors have caused to the planet. In the past years, we are about to enter a post-scarcity period in the history of humanity. In other words, we are on the threshold of living a period of full prosperity. The change will not happen forced by governments, political parties, or religious miracles. Individual cognitive shift will be the main drive for this to occur. The good news? We have already started this process. In the 1980s, we discovered that mankind was causing a hole in the ozone layer of the atmosphere, a natural shield that protects the planet from radiation. The ozone layer is absolutely important for us to live in Earth's atmosphere. Living beings only were able to get out of the water to live in the atmosphere after the appearance of this natural shield, released into the atmosphere as a byproduct of the breathing of certain species of algae millions of years ago. This layer protects us living beings by filtering more than 90% of the radiation coming from outer space. Once we became aware of the damage and the consequences for life in general, a large number of individuals on the planet went through a process of cognitive shift. Lawmakers made laws, consumers started to buy less CFC, industrials started to change their raw materials and production process. In the end, we stopped destroying the ozone shield, helping the planet to use its own devices to heal itself. It is important to say that he was not a political party, an economic discipline, a messiah, or a religious doctrine that made us correct the global problem that we created in the past. Scientific information, together with awareness, was sufficient to compel a huge number of individuals on this planet to act in the cause. It was the cognitive shift that saved us. Today, 30 years later, the hole in the ozone layer is gone. This may have been the first global mobilization to reconcile a global human error, the first cognitive shift toward a prospenomic society. What happened to Lucas and his friends in the beautiful village, you're probably asking. They took the lessons and learned how to deal with their limited intelligence, the limited evolution stage of the fruit, and the limited resources of the village. They have taken a step forward towards a more productive and harmonious society, after rationally analyzing the huge amount of information obtained in the previous lesson. This is what Post-Scarcity is all about.